So Canada is rejecting and punching Elon Musk and Donald Trump America in the mouth. That's the subject of today's video. And there was a hockey match yesterday between Team Canada and Team USA. And before they even started playing, they just literally started fighting, like literally punching and stuff. There were 3 fights in 9 seconds. The fights themselves weren't anything spectacular. It was the amount of fights, right? Again, 3 fights in 9 seconds. And basically, this is all started with Donald Trump is threatening trade war on Canada, right, and Mexico. And also Donald Trump, just repeatedly saying, "Oh, I'd like to make Canada the 51st state." People in Canada aren't too thrilled about that stuff that Donald Trump is saying, and essentially, the American national anthem is getting booed at professional sports matches, so be it NBA, NHL, etc. On top of that, which is actually really interesting, Canada is unifying against Trump, and so effectively, Canada is our friends, guys. And I'll just say this: Canada's, in my opinion, seems to be showing more smarts than the USA at the moment, where they can unify against Trump. And we're hoping, I'm just telling you guys, as an American, we're hoping that we can convince our fellow Americans to also unify against Trump and Musk. On top of that, the flag sales are actually up by normal, way above. I think it's like they talked to a flag shop owner and he's like, "Hey, if things keep going the way they are, it could be up as high as 50% more sales than normal." I'd like to hear from people in Canada on this topic, and this bleeds into Canadian politics. So again, this is a sort of a unification of Canada, against a common foe, which would be Trump and Musk. There's even, right, you can see this call grows in Canada to ban Musk X, Tesla, and Starlink, right? Why not? And various politicians are all coming out. The leader of each one is basically trying to have a race on who can be tougher against Trump and Musk. It's actually really interesting to read this stuff because, normally, I don't know, trade between Canada and USA is pretty free. We're not really enemies. And I just want to make this really clear, guys. I'm an American. Canada, you're our friend. So don't think everyone's like Trump or Musk. We're totally not. And like I said, we're trying to convince our crazy Americans to unify against them also. But this was from Singh. I think he's the New Democrat Party. Like I said, there's multiple parties here. He says here, a Canadian lawmaker wants to target Elon Musk in retaliation to Trump's tariffs. And check out some of the details of this stuff. It's interesting what he says. He says, "I believe in good neighbors and having good relationships, but I believe very firmly Donald Trump only understands force. He's acted as a bully in many circumstances, and now he's acting as an economic bully. The only language that bullies understand is a language of strength. So we have to show that we're ready to fight back." And that's, again, from Singh. "We might be smaller. We might be up against a larger opponent, but it's going to hurt both of us. It's a bad thing to do. It's going to hurt Americans. It's going to hurt Canadians. And then he says, but we need to show it's wrong. It's the wrong thing to do," meaning that Trump putting tariffs on all of Canada, "and also show we're ready to fight back and defend what we have." And they're talking about targeting the tariffs, which I think is pretty cool. "We just announced today that what I would do, what I would put in place is 100% tariff on Tesla, directly targeting Elon Musk. Elon Musk is proudly touting this idea of the 51st state. So let's hit back at Elon Musk. I've also said we should shut down the supply of critical minerals, another move that directly targets Elon Musk and his Tesla company. The batteries that he needs requires these critical materials. We've got tools and we should be ready to use them." And he continues, "It's not something that we wanted to do, but if Donald Trump wants to bring this fight, know that we are ready. I'm putting Donald Trump on notice." So again, that's coming from Canada. And here's another leader of in Canada. This is, and I think she's running for Prime Minister, Freeland. She also calls for 100% tariffs on Tesla. She says, "Our retaliation is going to be a lot more surgical than that. We're going after American stakeholders who matter to the White House," right? So red states, Tesla, etc. "I have proposed 100% tariff on all Teslas. I am calling on all countries that are affected by this tariff to join us. and our retaliation will target specific Trump constituencies. So that would actually be pretty interesting if Canada could convince other countries to go along and like, hey, everyone out there, put 100% tariffs on Teslas or more. I mean, why not? You could totally do it. UK could do it. Australia could do it. Why not? France, why not? Everybody. And I'll say this already, just for example, in Europe, Tesla sales are absolutely tanking, but tariffs would actually really deeply hurt him. And if you guys don't know, Elon Musk's wealth is tied to the stock, right? So if the stock absolutely plummets, right, if no one buys the cars whatsoever, suddenly Elon Musk disappears from the public scene because he doesn't have the wealth or power anymore, and he's got a lot of problems to deal with because he's got tons of debt. So it'd just be absolutely nuts. This is another thing. I guess there's a petition now to urge mall owners to remove Tesla stores, from their malls. Fans of Elon Musk will see these stories pop up every now and then. This guy's like, hey, I had a couple Teslas. I had a Cybertruck on order. I sold my Teslas, canceled my Cybertruck, screw Musk, that kind of stuff. And this was actually the big one too, more on the more conservative side. So this would be, I think his name is Polier, who is Pierre or Polive, I think is how you say his name. But I think he's actually the leading in the polls. It's unsure who's going to win, but I'm saying he's the leading right now. And he's even going more anti-Trump kind of stuff, Team Canada against Trump, because that's the issue that is really concerning to Canadians right now is like, how are we going to fight Trump, right? Trump's threats and statehood taunt reset race to lead Canada. This is the current polling as of just a few days ago. Again, if you guys are in Canada, I'd like to hear your thoughts. I think it's Freeland, Carney, and is it Polive's name? Are the sort of three front runners, with Polive being the leader at the moment, but the polls are tightening up, as you can see right there. So that'd be the Conservative Party in Canada, and the Liberal Party are the sort of the two front runners. When asked if ask Canadians, do you want to join USA as the 51st state? Pretty much everyone say no. I mean, it's like 90% of Canada says no. British Columbia 92%. For some reason, Alberta conservative voters, they're kind of in the 80s saying no, not necessarily everyone, but it is still a majority. And then you got the Liberal voters, 97% saying no. So there are a few people in Canada that want to join USA. I'd like to hear from you guys on that, but yeah, majority say no. Regarding polling data among the more liberal parties, it's Mark Carney and Freeland. So Carney is got a slight lead over her, but we'll see. Some of the stuff that they're talking about in Canada on the conservative side is kind of interesting. This is Pierre Poilievre is talking about the east-west economy. So I guess they want to build a pipeline from the east to the west. I don't know. I'm not Canadian, so that's why I'm bringing this up, because I like to hear how popular that is. And then he says he promised to hit back hard against any levies imposed by the U.S. President Donald Trump, while revamping the natural resources sector to fortify the country's economy against threats from its southern neighbors. And this is a quote. And again, this is the Conservative Party. They're saying here, we have to be prepared for the worst. We can no longer depend on the Americans alone for our trade. We can no longer think of them as our backup defense. These threats, my friends, are a wake-up call. And so basically what's going on, you can see his language, is there's being a wedge being divided between two strong friends, between Canada and USA, right? And only other countries benefit from that. It's like, say, like Russia or China benefits from that. Canada can just like, you know what, I'm just going to go trade with other people if you're going to be like that, Donald Trump. And so, guys, I want you to see how Donald Trump is hurting America, right? We talk about it on a daily basis. Musk is hurting America, but they're also hurting our friendship with other countries, which hurts us even more. If you guys understand what I'm saying, it's not just the hurt inside; it's the hurt sort of like in the connections to our friends. Like breaking off your friends isn't great. Even again, as a Conservative Party leader says here, you have your grievances with us, talking to USA and Trump. You have your grievances with us. We have ours with you. But I would ask you this question: which other country would you rather have as your neighbor? And if Canada is not your friend, who is, right? It's pretty strong language. And so they're talking Canada first over there. Same kind of stuff, retaliation of tariffs, strengthen the border, and trying to insulate themselves from recession in case Donald Trump sends us that way. Carney, and honestly, I'd say Carney, Freeland, or Poilievre. I mean, I'm fine. I'm not a Canadian, so I don't have like a strong opinion on this stuff, but I think the problem right now is, because I've been reading through all this stuff and kind of seeing what's going on, is the Conservative Party guy. He's a little bit odd. He's got like a likability problem. And then the problem for Carney or Freeland is Trudeau is kind of unpopular, and so they're connected to him. And so what they need to do is like try to distance themselves and say, well, we're not going to be like Trudeau. We're going to be like someone else. So that's kind of the challenge, right? So if you're in the party that where people are kind of blame and want something to change, but the change isn't great. So I think Carney's going to have the most experience, but Carney or Freeland, I and again, I'm not Canadian, but it seems like they're going to be not Trump. They seem fine to me. They seem like any regular politician. And I'll just say this, guys, like whenever we talk about, politicians or whatever, I just want someone who's going to do your job, not be on the headlines every single day, not doing some crazy crap, and not being in it to profit yourself. So, and you can meet the judge. Like I said, I like to hear Canadians' point of views on this stuff. For example, Carney says, we need a government that spends less, but gets the country to invest more. And, he wants to try to balance the budget. I think he said within like 3 years, but they're going to have to deficit spend, which a lot of countries do. That's just how it is. And this is actually a real challenge though for Canada. I think jobs would probably be your second biggest issue. Trump being your first, jobs being your second. I think Freeland has some really interesting things to say. Also, I'll read a little bit more from her. So for example, she says here, we have more leverage than Canadians think. We certainly have more leverage than Americans think. Remember, these steel and aluminum tariffs are something we had before. They were imposed on us in 2018 and they were lifted in 2019. And Canada and Mexico uniquely got full lift. Nobody else did. And the entire reason that happened is that we did retaliate and that caused pain. So, I mean, Canada's, all the candidates are ready to fight back against Trump, which is a good thing. And this was actually a key line I thought that she said. She says here, I really believe Canadians are prepared to stand up to the United States because we do know our sovereignty is at risk, right? No one wants to be a 51st state over there. By contrast, regular Americans do not wake up in the morning and say, wow, I sure hate those Canucks. I am prepared to have higher gas prices, right? Americans don't say that stuff. I am prepared to have higher grocery prices. I'm prepared to have my 401k worth less just to show those, G-damn Canadians that this, that is just not the case, right? And this is, I think, a really good point that she said, and this is coming from Freeland, is saying, Americans don't wake up every day hating on Canada. So like, what's up with Musk and Trump? They're just freaking insane. And so again, I just repeat again, as an American, I'm just trying my best to convince the crazy Americans to join to the sane side, and like not be fighting and starting wars with our friends in Canada. So, but as an American, I also support you in Canada. Please do boycott red states in the USA. Please, boycott, put tariffs on Teslas. I think that's the way to go. And effectively, that's how you hit them where it hurts, hit them in their pocketbook. So want to hear your thoughts, especially from people in Canada. Who do you like out of the three? Those are the leaders. Is there someone else that is, possibly in the running to be a lead? I'd like to hear that. So thanks again, and I'll catch you all in the next video.